we start the data arrangement, we need to know the table frequency. The following data represent the sale prices in thousand and the frequency. Number of classes, K. There's a formula which is 2K is bigger than N. We need to find the K. As we know, N is 28. And K we don't know. If we want to find the K, we need to make it greater than the N. And we choose 5. 2 to the power of 5 is 32, which means it is greater than 28. So the recommended number of classes is 5. Next, class interval or width. There's a formula which is class width equal to maximum entry minus minimum entry divided with number of class. As you know, in the data given, 321 is the maximum entry and 252 is the minimum entry. So, 321 minus with 252 divided by 5, we will get 13.8. And we run up to 14. To make it much more easier, we must rearrange the data from smallest to the biggest. And as we know, 252 is the smallest and 321 is the biggest. Frequency table include class intervals, tally, and frequency. Class intervals, we have been searched, that is 14, 252 plus with 14 until 265. And we can search it on the data that we have rearranged, and the frequency is 4. Frequency, if we total it, it must be same as the total sample. Next is relative frequency. The relative frequency is the portion of percentage of the data that falls in that class. There's a formula which is relative frequency equal to class frequency divided by sample size. In relative frequency table, it includes class intervals, tally, frequency, and relative frequency. For example, class interval 252 until 265, the frequency is 4, and we must divide it with 28, because 28 is the sample size. So, if we want to find the relative frequency, 4 divided by 28, then we get 0.14. And the relative frequency, if we total as the same line with total, the 28 divided by 28 must get 1.00. Last but not least is cumulative frequency. The cumulative frequency is the sum of the frequency for that class and all previous classes. There's a formula. Cumulative frequency of the last class is equal to sample size. In cumulative frequency table, it includes class intervals, tally, frequency, relative frequency, and cumulative frequency. If you want to find the cumulative frequency, and you can see in class interval 252 and until 265, the frequency is 4. Then we just put it in the cumulative frequency 4. Then for the class interval 266 until 279, the frequency is 8. Then 4 plus with 8 is 12. 12 is the cumulative frequency for the second class intervals. And for the third class interval, which is 280 until 293, the frequency is 3. Then 12 plus with 3, then we get 15.
To get the amount of lower boundary, we need to use the formula that lower limit minus 0.5. Then we will get the answer of lower boundary. Then, to get the answer of mean point, we need to use the formula lower limit plus upper limit then divide by 2. To get the amount of upper boundary, we need to use the formula of upper limit minus 0.5. To draw the graph of histogram, we need to use the data of frequency, number of class, and class midpoint. Frequency polygon. To get the amount of midpoint, we need to use the formula that lower limit plus upper limit then divide by 2. To draw the graph of polygon, we use the data of midpoint and also the data of frequency. Lastly, for the graph of ogive, we use the data of frequency and also the data of upper boundary.
For the mean, you need calculate the fx. How to calculate the fx? First, you need midpoint multiply f. You can get the fx. So here I got the total of fx is 8078. So after you find the fx and f, you can move to the formula. Formula of mean is total fx divided by total frequency. Here I got 8078 divided by 28. The total of mean is 288.5. For the median, you need find the small number at the frequency. After that, you need highlight all the table. Okay, after you find the small number, you can move to the formula. The formula of median is Lm plus bracket n divide 2 minus total Fm divide Fm bracket multiply C. Find Lm, you need C at the class interval. For example, here 218, you need minus 0.5. You get 279.5 and plus bracket, and you can see at the total of frequency is 28 divided by 2 minus 12. Divide by 3. How you can get 3? You need see at the place where you highlight. Okay, after that multiply 14. You need multiply 14. So the total of median is 288.83. Okay, for mode, first you need find the highest number at the frequency and you highlight all the table. To find the change one, you need 8 minus 4 and you can get the total is 4. So to find the change 2 is you need 8 minus 3. you can get the total is 5. You settle the calculate of LM, change 1, change 2 and C, you can move to the formula. The formula mode is LM plus bracket change 1 divide change 1 plus change 2 bracket multiply C. I get the LM is 285.5 plus bracket change 1 I got the 4 divide by 4 plus change 2 I get the 5 bracket multiply 14. Total mood is 271.72.
The method that I use to measure opposition is the quartile. First of all, we must ascending our data from lowest to highest. To measure opposition, I use the first quartile and third quartile. For the first quartile, we have a formula. It is Q1 equals to M plus 1 divided by 4. For N, it is the total of data. It is 28 plus 1 divided by 4, I get 7.25. Q1 or first quartile is located at 7.25 position. That means the 25% of the sales price of condominium less than 269,000 and 75 of the sales price of condominium more than 269,000. Proceed to the third quartile. To calculate the third quartile, it have a formula too. It is Q3 equals to 3 bracket N plus 1 divided by 4. It is 3 bracket 28 plus 1 divided by 4 and I get 21.75. Q3 or third quartile located at 21.75 position. It means 25% of the sales price condominium less than 303,000 and 75% of the sales price of condominium more than 3,300. To measuring quartile for the group data, we must have a table, and as you can see, the table that I get from the data arrangement. And for the first one, I have to find the location of Q1 and Q3. To find the first quartile, it is N divided by 4 equals to 28 divided by 4, I get for the first quartile is 7. And the third quartile, it is Q3 equals to 3N divided by 4, it is 3 bracket 28 divided by 4, I get 21. As you refer to the table, the first quartile, I get around class interval 266 to 279. It is in cumulative frequency 12. And for the third quartile, it is around 294 to 307. In the cumulative frequency, it is 21, as you can see in the table. Then, I want to show you how to find the value of Q1 and Q3. The first quartile, to calculate it, is I can show you the formula. I got the LQ1 is 265.5. How I get it? Because if you can see in class interval at the table, it is 266 to 279. The 266 minus to 0.5, I get to 265.5 plus 7 minus 4 divided by 8 and multiply 14. How I get 14 is, if you can calculate it, 279 minus 266, you can get 13 and you have to plus 1 and you get 14. After calculate it, I get for the first quartile is 270.75. To calculate the third quartile, if you can see, the formula is just like the first quartile. And to calculate it, the LQ3, I get it from the class interval 264 to 307, you must get 264 minus 0.5, you can get 293.5 plus 21 minus 15 divided by 6 and multiply for 14. You can get the 21 and 7 for the first quartile from the location of Q1 and Q3. After calculate it, I get the third quartile is 307.5. The last one is how to calculate interquartile range. To calculate it, it have a formula IQV equals to Q3 minus the Q1. For the Q3, I got 307.5 minus the 270.75 to IQV, I get 36.75. It is the measure of position calculation that I get from the quartiles.
How to find the range? Range maximum data entry minus minimum data entry. 321 minus 252 equals 69. Therefore, the range sale price of condominium is 69 or 69,000. How to find sample variance? S power of 2 equal 1 divide n minus 1 bracket total fx power of 2 minus bracket total fx power of 2 divided by total f. S2 equal 1 divide 28 minus 1 bracket 2341759 minus bracket 8078 power of 2 divided by 28. So the answer is S power of 2 equal by 416.89. How to find sample standard deviation? S equals square root S power of 2. S equals square root 416.89. So the answer is S equal 20.417. Therefore, the sample variance is about 416.89 and the sample standard deviation is about RM 20417.
For conclusion, we use bell-shaped normal because the median is greater than the mode and mean. We also made 3 types of calculations to find out the square size of the condominium. The calculation is a measure of the central tendency to obtain a value that represents the distribution center. Then, the measure of variation where some of the parameters are trying to describe the amount of variation between random variables. Finally, the measure of position to identify positions that have specific data values in particular data set. Therefore, with this way that the real estate group will know the sale price of the condominium with the certain size square feet too. In addition, making a graph makes it easier for the real estate group to know the price and midpoint prices for the condominium.